Hi, I'm going to start today with a corny joke, but it's very, very relevant to the topic for today. So please bear with me. And it goes like this. Knock, knock. Who's there? I see you. I see you who? I see you looking up at me. I see you too. And it's the first time I see you in a long time looking up at me. Well, the reason why this is relevant is because a lot of times we do forget that God is there and that God is with us. And we forget to look up. Oh, we don't forget if we've got an emergency or if one of our loved ones has an emergency. And Sundays we're pretty good at going to church. Sometimes we'll remember it at other times. But this is more about walking hand in hand with God, always. Keeping Him as an intimate part of our life. And so the key question that we're going to start with today is, if God already knows everything about us and everything about everything that's going on around us, why do we need to pray? He already knows what we need, right? And the answer is, of course, yes, He does know what we need. But that's not what prayer is supposed to be about. Prayer is not to inform God of anything. It is about to humble ourselves before Him. It is about to create a relationship with Him, to walk hand in hand with Him. Matthew 6, verse 8, we hear Jesus say that God knows everything. But then the very next verse, He turns around, and in Matthew 6:9, He tells us we do need to pray, and He teaches us the Lord's Prayer. And prayer is about drawing near to our Father, who knows and loves us, by walking with Him through daily life. And that last line, I think, is the most important. Walking with Him through all of our daily life. Luke 11, verse 1. The disciples asked Jesus, Lord, teach us how to pray. And they did this. They didn't ask to learn how to give good sermons or a lot of different things, but how to pray, because they noticed that this was where Jesus drew His power and drew His ministry from. And that is His ongoing prayer and communion with God our Father. There is a great statement from Wilson's 2013 lecture on prayer that gives us a good understanding, I think, of, at a top line, of this intimacy. And it says that prayer changes the world, it changes the prayer, and it will make a supreme difference in your life. The next question we're going to touch on is, how should we incorporate prayer into our daily life? We've identified it's important, but how do we go about doing this? Well, the first thing is it should be an ongoing conversation, not just in the morning or at night or when you especially need Him, but ongoingly throughout the day. It should be something very lovely that you enjoy doing, is having that ongoing conversation. There are different kinds of prayers. And as 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 17 tells us, never stop praying. So let's take a look at these different kinds of prayers. There's a simple prayer, and that's when you just talk to God and tell Him what's in your heart, or tell Him what you want. There's a very, very important one. I think you should do it at least every day, or we should do it every day, and that is the worship or the adoration prayer. because it helps us always remember how important God is. Confession goes without saying. Thanksgiving, supplication, intercession. That's called relinquishment, the next one, which is the surrendering of our will. Guidance, healing. Warfare is a good one. That's when we're battling evil. And communion, which I think is the most important one that we're talking about today. I'm going to share with you briefly one specific instance where it just happened not long ago at all, when it seemed like everything was just impossible. We were in a sanctuary, and a particular animal, a ringtail cat, severed half his tail off, and there's a major artery, and it was just pouring out blood, and none of the vets would see him because they didn't know, they don't have the specific license for this kind of animal. And we were going everywhere trying to get it resolved, and we couldn't. I decided to pour my heart out to Christ and ask him, please, please, to help us. And just then, this one particular vet that had already said no, said, well, you know what? Shh, come in. And he put us in this back room, and he handed us all of the equipment and medications and everything to put on it, and taught us how to stop bleeding. And his life was saved. And the tide turned just like this from one second to another. And so that is one example. I'd love to hear what examples you have of prayers working for you. Or if you have any challenges with your prayers, I'd love to hear that also. Otherwise, I wish you the absolute best, and may God be with you.